A whisper in the laboratory. Welcome back to the sleepy scientist's laboratory. A place where curiosity settles gently into quiet. And even the most complex mysteries are unwrapped with peace, wonder, and the rhythm of your breathing. Tonight, we begin a new journey into the invisible world that touches everything. Sound. What is sound, really? Is it just a noise we hear? Or is it something deeper? Something that connects us to music, memory, and even silence? Test tube sparkles. You're lying comfortably in the warm, dusky calm of the sleepy scientist's lab. The room is filled with shelves lined with glass jars, soft glowing lanterns, and curious tools that hum ever so faintly. The scientist, with her gentle eyes and wisps of silver hair, is tinkering beside you. She smiles and says, "Tonight, we begin by listening. Not with our ears alone, but with our imaginations." You nod sleepily. She hands you a small, shimmering sphere. As soon as your fingers close around it, a quiet hum fills the room. Like a lullaby made of wind and moonlight. "This," she says, "is a captured sound wave. One of the gentlest ever recorded." You feel the sphere vibrate slightly in your hand. Not loudly. Not even clearly. But deeply, like a secret message from the air itself. Sound, the scientist begins softly, is the dance of air molecules, rising and falling, stretching and squeezing, until your ears catch the rhythm. Like ocean waves lapping a distant shore. She taps a silver tuning fork gently. Ping. The sound is soft but lingering. That vibration, she says, is energy. Energy made visible through feeling. You can't see it, but your body listens, even when your mind is quiet. As the fork rings out, you feel its vibration travel gently through your chest. It's calming, like a familiar song you've never heard before. Test tube. The scientist beckons you to a nearby window. Outside, it's nighttime. But the world is alive with quiet music. Crickets chirp in rhythm. Leaves rustle in soft percussion. And an owl hoots, a distant echo against the velvet sky. Nature has always known how to sing, she says. Even silence has a texture, a kind of presence. Some call it white noise. Others call it peace. You close your eyes and let her words settle inside you like a lullaby. She places a feather-light headset on your ears. And suddenly, you're floating. Not flying through the sky, but drifting, on sound waves. Musical notes. You feel the low thrum of a cello string beneath you, like a soft wave lifting and lowering your body. Then the shimmering notes of a flute twirl around you, like stars whispering to each other. The sleepy scientist's voice fades in again, slow and soothing. Sound can be soft, like a breeze through trees. Or thunderous, like a waterfall in the forest. But all of it, every note, every whisper, is vibration. Even the silence you fall asleep to is filled with potential sound. And your body, your heart, is listening. You drift further now, coasting on long, warm tones that rise and fall like breathing. You imagine floating across a sea of tuning forks. Each one singing gently as your thoughts grow slower. And slower. The sleepy scientist whispers. Let go now. Let sound hold you. And let silence catch you when you drift. The music fades. The tones dissolve into a soft hum. And beneath it all, you hear nothing. Just the soft silence of a world gone still. You smile. Because somehow, the silence isn't empty. It's full, of peace, of possibility. Of sleep. You breathe in slowly. And as you exhale, you fall asleep with the rhythm of the universe around you. The invisible ocean. Tonight, we continue our gentle journey through the hidden world of sound. As you lie back and let your thoughts soften, picture this. You're floating in an ocean. But not of water. An invisible ocean made entirely of air. Gentle waves roll by you, not seen, but felt. The sleepy scientist sits beside you in a little wooden boat, her lantern glowing softly. Most people think sound travels like an arrow, she says. But it doesn't. It ripples, like water. She drops a small pebble into the ocean of air. You don't see the ripples, but you feel them. They're called longitudinal waves, she explains. Little squeezes and stretches that move through the air, touching everything in their path. A distant bird calls out, its sound travels across the invisible ocean to reach your ears. The boat drifts. You hear faint music, waves gently brushing ashore, the whisper of wind through branches. Even when the world seems silent, she whispers. It's still singing. She holds up an old, golden shell to your ear. You listen. And there, beneath the hush, you hear the tiniest heartbeat. A soft thump-thump, steady and kind. That's the rhythm of your own body, she smiles. It's always listening, always making sound. The boat floats further. The invisible ocean is calm tonight. And you, resting gently on its surface, feel every breath of it. You drift into dreams, held by the hush of everything. Echoes and memory. You awaken, not to noise, but to presence. You're in a circular canyon made of soft red stone. The walls stretch far into the sky, and the air is cool and still. Beside you stands the sleepy scientist. She whispers, "Say something." You say your name softly. And from the walls, it returns. Your voice, echoed back, not quite the same. Deeper. Warmer. As if the canyon remembers you. Echoes are memories, she says. The sound waves bounce, reflect, and return. But not unchanged. They carry time in their rhythm. You take a few steps and speak again. Your voice meets the stone, dances, and comes back slower, softer. Wherever sound goes, the scientist continues, it leaves a trace. It touches surfaces. It warms them, ever so slightly. You place your palm on the canyon wall. It's warm. You smile. This place holds every song ever sung in it, she whispers. And it holds silence too, the beautiful, generous kind of silence that lets memory echo through. You sit down on a soft patch of moss. The sun is setting through the canyon walls, casting golden light like music. You listen. The stone sings faintly, echoes of ancient wind and forgotten words. You lie back. And as the echoes fade into hush, you drift into sleep, wrapped in the memory of sound. The forest that listens. You find yourself walking gently through a twilight forest. It's not dark. Rather, the air is thick with a gentle lavender glow. The trees are tall and listening. Each trunk wide enough to hold 100 stories. And perhaps, they do. Beside you, the sleepy scientist walks barefoot over moss. This forest, she says softly, is one of the quietest places on earth. But it's never silent. She pauses, placing her hand gently on the bark of an ancient oak. Trees here, she explains. Not with ears. But with pressure, vibration. When sound waves ripple through the ground or air, they feel it. You lean against the same tree. It vibrates, barely, like the distant hum of a forgotten melody. All life responds to sound, she continues. It changes the way trees grow. The way flowers bloom. The way birds call across great canopies. And sure enough, a songbird chirps above. Not an alarm or rush, but a simple lullaby. One note. Then another. Each leaf shivers slightly, as if applauding. This forest, the scientist smiles, knows how to listen better than we do. As you walk deeper into the woods, you pass old stone markers carved with spiral patterns. She tells you, these mark the listening points. Ancient people once sat here just to hear the trees respond. You settle on one of the stones. The breeze hushes. And in that quiet, you hear something you hadn't noticed before. The sound of your own thoughts quieting. You hear the stillness between your breaths. The softness of your body resting on the earth. You hear the leaves above you harmonizing with the rhythm of your chest rising and falling. The forest listens to you, too. It doesn't ask anything. It simply receives. And in that receiving, you feel completely accepted. You lie down beneath a wide-armed tree. Its canopy forming a soft cradle of shadows. The sleepy scientist wraps a soft shawl of woven moss around your shoulders. And with a quiet voice, she says, "Tonight, may the forest hold you." As sound sleeps, and silence blooms. You close your eyes. The air hums. The earth exhales. And the forest listens as you drift into dreams. The Whispering Library. Candle books, soft ambient tones with turning pages, echoing footsteps, and warm candlelight flickers. Tonight, you find yourself standing before an ancient, ivy-covered building nestled deep within a hidden glade. Its wooden sign reads, "The Whispering Library." The sleepy scientist gently pushes the heavy door open. A bell above it chimes, not with a sharp ring, but a soft choral note, like a welcome from the walls themselves. Inside, the air is warm and filled with the faint scent of cedar, parchment, and distant rainfall. "This," she whispers, "is where sound becomes memory." You step inside, and the door slowly closes behind you with a creak that echoes through the quiet hall. Books line the walls from floor to ceiling. Some are open. Some are shut tight. Some seem to hum faintly, as if dreaming their own stories. The scientist leads you to a narrow aisle lit by floating orbs of soft golden light. This library records sound. Not with machines, but with feeling, she explains. Every whisper ever spoken with love, every lullaby hummed beside a cradle, every laugh in a quiet room, it's all stored here. She picks up a book bound in soft blue velvet. As she opens it, the air around you changes. You hear the gentle murmur of a mother telling her child a bedtime story. The voice is warm, soothing, and familiar, even though you've never heard it before. You close your eyes. The words aren't meant to be understood, they're meant to be felt. Another book opens itself nearby. It plays the soft click of wind chimes in a village at dusk. Another offers the delicate splash of oars dipping into a lake, a conversation between two old friends drifting across the water. Sound, the scientist says, doesn't disappear. It just changes. The library keeps it safe. Long after the words are gone. You walk slowly past more shelves. Some books sound like music boxes. Others like pages turning in a quiet cafe. One offers nothing at all, just silence, but you feel a strong presence within it. Even silence has its own voice, she whispers. At the far end of the library, you find a cushion in the reading nook. Soft wool blankets wrap you gently as you curl up beside the glowing bookshelf. You listen to a story without words. Only emotion, crackling fires, snowfall, footsteps in soft sand. The sleepy scientist places a small journal beside you. If you ever want to record a moment, she smiles. Write it down here. The library will keep it forever. Even if it's just the sound of your heartbeat before falling asleep. You feel a great stillness settle over you. The books hum their lullabies. The room feels warm. Safe. Remembered. And slowly, effortlessly, you drift into sleep. Your dreams held quietly in the pages of the Whispering Library. The music beneath the ocean. Waterwave musical notes, gentle underwater ambience with soft whale songs, bubbling currents, and distant echoes. Tonight, your journey takes you deep beneath the surface of the sea. You're aboard a smooth, glowing vessel designed by the sleepy scientist, one that floats not on water, but through it, like a gentle thought drifting through a dream. The walls of the vessel are clear, allowing you to see everything. Schools of shimmering fish, coral gardens blooming with light, and the graceful sway of kelp forests. Beside you, the sleepy scientist adjusts a dial. Instantly, the water becomes a symphony. Low rumbles rise from the seabed, tectonic plates murmuring softly in their ancient sleep. Higher up, you hear the echoing clicks and whistles of dolphins in conversation. And then, deep and slow, a whale's song unfolds like a poem across the waves. The notes vibrate through your chest. They are not just sounds, they are stories. This, the scientist says softly, is the ocean's music. It never stops. She hands you a pair of sound-amplifying shells, crafted from pearl and moss. When you press them gently against your ears, you hear even more. The laughter of bubbles rising from volcanic vents. The crackling of shrimp snapping their tiny claws in the reefs. The rhythmic drumming of waves against the ocean floor. A heartbeat of the planet. The vessel moves slowly through a deep underwater canyon. Bioluminescent jellyfish float past like glowing lullabies. The sleepy scientist whispers, even in the quietest part of the sea, there is never silence. Only a softer kind of sound. You drift past an ancient shipwreck now claimed by coral and barnacles. Tiny creatures whisper as they dance through broken masts and hollowed hulls. You close your eyes, feeling the current sway the vessel gently. Outside, a pod of whales glides past, singing a song that stretches across hundreds of miles. And hundreds of years. They remember, she says. They sing the same songs their ancestors did long before we could even hear them. You lay your head back against the soft, seaweed-woven pillow. The hum of the ocean cradles you like a deep, warm breath. And in that beautiful underwater silence, a silence made of sound, you begin to drift. Slowly, deeply. Into peaceful, ocean sound sleep. The forest's secret song. Evergreen tree musical note nature soundscape with rustling leaves, birdsong, distant waterfalls, and wooden flute tones. The sleepy scientist leads you through a lush, emerald forest bathed in golden morning light. The trees stand tall and ancient, their trunks wide and twisted, their branches reaching like arms toward the sky. Every leaf seems to shimmer in quiet conversation with the breeze. You walk side by side, your feet sinking softly into moss-covered ground. Birds call to one another high above. Somewhere nearby, a stream burbles gently over smooth stones. She pauses and smiles. Most people think the forest is silent. But it's not. It sings. Just, slowly. You listen more closely. A warbler trills nearby, a song of joy, repeated 3 times like a spell. The wind whistles gently through a hollow log, producing a single low tone. A droplet of water falls from a leaf into a tiny puddle, making a perfect note. Deer in the distance, you hear a deer's hooves crack softly against the underbrush. It's not just random noise, the scientist says. The forest composes its own song. It's always playing, if you're quiet enough to hear it. She takes a handmade instrument from her satchel, a wooden flute carved with ivy patterns and stones from the river. When she plays, the melody blends with the wind, the birds, and the trees. It doesn't lead them, it follows them. The trees respond. You begin to hear a soft, rhythmic creaking, a grove of trees swaying together in harmony. Somewhere nearby, a hollow log echoes like a soft drum. A branch snaps, not loudly, but clearly, on beat. You sit beneath an old tree with bark like ancient skin. The sleepy scientist hands you a smooth stone. This tree records sound, she says. Its rings grow differently depending on what it hears. Some years of storms and cracking wind, others of music and laughter. You rest your back against the trunk and close your eyes. The forest continues its song, more layered now, your presence part of it. There's no rush. No pressure. No goal. Only rhythm and harmony and breath. You inhale slowly, deeply. A light breeze brushes your cheeks like a lullaby. The sun dapples your closed eyelids with soft amber patterns. And as the song of the forest continues, you fall into the calmest, most natural kind of sleep. One that hums with life. The whispering caves. Wind-faced soundscape of echoing drips, gentle winds, soft footsteps on stone, and distant, hollow tones. You awaken to the glow of dawn slipping through a curtain of ivy. The sleepy scientist is already up, smiling softly as she packs a lantern, a notebook, and a tiny glass tuning fork. Today, she whispers, we listen to the earth itself. You follow her down a path lined with mossy stones and quiet ferns. The forest thins into rocky hills, and soon, you arrive at the mouth of a vast cave. Its entrance breathes out a cool wind, scented with stone and memory. The moment you step inside, you feel the hush of ancient silence. It's not empty. It's full, of things that rarely speak and sounds that rarely leave. The sleepy scientist taps the tuning fork, and its note rings clear, soft, like a ripple through velvet. As she walks deeper into the cave, the fork hums louder, vibrating with the resonance of the rock. She turns to you and smiles. These caves are full of echoes. But not just ours. They carry voices from 1,000 years ago, if you know how to hear them. You walk carefully along the glowing path of bioluminescent moss. Each footstep creates a soft echo that floats back like a whisper. Drip, drip, drip. Somewhere above, a stalactite offers a gift of water to the stone below. The rhythm is perfect, meditative. You stop and listen. Every chamber has its own voice. Cyclone 1 hums low, like a cello. Cyclone another sings high, almost like a glass harp. Cyclone 1 room pulses with a deep, slow beat, like the earth's own breath. You enter a circular cave with a shimmering ceiling of crystal formations. When the sleepy scientist speaks, her voice rings out in harmony with the crystals, like a soft choir joining in. Sound travels differently here, she says. It bends, curls, and sometimes gets lost in time. She gently strikes a series of crystal chimes hanging from a stone archway. Each one emits a soft, glowing tone that dances through the chamber. You close your eyes, and the cave begins to sing around you. Then, silence. Not empty silence, but sacred silence, filled with presence. The kind that makes you forget your name and remember your place in the vastness of time. You lie down on a smooth stone slab warmed by the cave's deep breath. The sleepy scientist places a hand gently on the ground beside you. This place will hold your dreams, she whispers. The dripping continues. The air hums. The silence wraps around you like a blanket of stone and sound. And you drift. Quietly. Gently. Into sleep. The Bellmakers of Willowmere. Bell house with garden soundscape, soft wind chimes, village sounds, distant stream, and the gentle hammer of metal on metal. You awaken in a small, sunlit cottage nestled in the hills of Willowmere, a quiet village where the wind always carries music. The sleepy scientist greets you with a smile as she stirs a pot of tea. Today, she says, we visit the Bellmakers. They understand sound as no one else does. To them, tone is truth. You follow her through winding cobblestone paths, under wooden arches strung with wind chimes. The whole town seems to sing gently with every passing breeze. Small houses line the path, their roofs mossy, their gardens filled with lavender and thyme. Children laugh somewhere in the distance. The air carries the faint, joyful chime of bells in every direction. You arrive at a round workshop at the edge of the stream. Inside, the walls are lined with bells, tiny ones made from shells, medium ones of clay, and massive bronze ones etched with patterns of clouds and stars. A kind old bell-maker named Elian welcomes you with a bow. He carries the calm energy of someone who listens more than he speaks. You don't make a bell, he says. You grow it, shaping it until it sings who it really is. You watch as he heats a bell blank in a glowing forge. With each soft strike of his hammer, he listens carefully, adjusting the metal's curve and thickness. Each bell has its own destiny, he explains. Musical notes: some bells are made to call the animals home. Musical notes others to open festivals. Musical notes some are so gentle they're only rung at dawn, to welcome the sun. He lets you hold a small silver bell, a gift, he says. It's shaped like a teardrop and sings with a pure, single note. You ring it softly, and the sound vibrates through your fingertips, calming your breath. Later, the villagers gather in the square. Dozens of handmade bells are suspended on arches of driftwood and bamboo. As the breeze moves through them, they begin to chime, an orchestra of wind and metal, soft and harmonious. The bellmaker turns to you. Each of us is like a bell, he says. We're shaped by time and memory. But we still carry our own note. The sleepy scientist smiles beside you. And when we're still enough to listen, we find harmony. The sun begins to set, casting gold through the trees. You sit beneath the hanging chimes, listening to their soft lullaby. The tones overlap gently, echoing like dreams in your mind. Slowly, peacefully, your eyes grow heavy. You ring the little silver bell once more before placing it beside you. Its note stays with you as you drift into a deep, resonant sleep. The choral choir beneath the sea. Water wave spiral shell soundscape, gentle ocean waves, bubbles, distant whale songs, and the soft crackle of coral life. You awaken on the deck of a slow-drifting boat, gently rocking on the open sea. The sky is soft lavender, and the water below glows with morning light. Beside you, the sleepy scientist fastens a delicate seashell pendant around her neck. Today, she says, we listen to the ocean's voice, not just waves and wind, but the music hidden deep beneath the surface. The boat slows as it nears a coral reef, vibrant with color. You put on a special listening device, an enchanted headset that picks up underwater sounds with startling clarity. Then, slowly, you submerge. The world below is peaceful and full of life. Bright fish dart between coral arches. Sunbeams filter down through turquoise water. But what truly captures your attention is the sound. It's not silent down here. Speaker high volume, you hear the clicks of shrimp and the crackles of moving coral. Speaker high volume, a deep hum thrums in the distance, whales singing to one another across miles. Speaker high volume, a pod of dolphins calls cheerfully as they pass, each one with a unique signature whistle. The sleepy scientist swims beside you, pointing to a massive reef formation shaped like a spiraling cathedral. You swim closer. As you approach, the headset begins to pick up something remarkable, harmonic tones, not mechanical, not animal, almost like a human choir, but softer, older. The coral, she explains through the communicator, emits tiny vibrations. When thousands of coral colonies pulse together, they create a soundscape, a kind of reef lullaby. You float there, mesmerized by the coral choir. Musical notes: one note rises like a crystal bell. Musical notes: another pulses low, like a heartbeat echoing through stone. Musical notes together, they form a gentle, layered song, complex and ancient. Some simply hum, offering warmth with no words. A small, curious cat hops into your lap. Its purring fills the quiet like a heartbeat wrapped in fur. It nestles against your side as the chair rocks gently, like a cradle made of memory and dreams. As your breathing slows, the library seems to sigh in rhythm with you. Your thoughts become as soft as pages turning. The stories blur into one long, comforting sound. The gentle rustle of stories past. the hush of future tales yet to be told. And, held safely within the soft embrace of this literary sanctuary, you fall into the deepest sleep. The Cave of Echoes. Speaker high-volume soundscape, gentle water drips, echoing footsteps, soft wind through tunnels, distant harmonic tones, and a resonant hum of silence. The sleepy scientist guides you down a winding forest path as the sun begins to set, the light turning amber behind the trees. A hush falls over the woods. Ahead, hidden beneath thick ivy and moss, is a cavern entrance. This, she says with wonder, is the Cave of Echoes. Some say it remembers every sound ever made within it. A hush of cool air greets you as you step inside. The temperature drops slightly, but it's not cold, it's a soothing coolness that invites calm. Smooth stone walls glisten with moisture, and pools of water catch reflections of your lamplight. The sound of your footsteps seems to stretch in all directions. Each step becomes a soft chime, bouncing off curved walls in strange and beautiful ways. The sleepy scientist smiles. The cave doesn't just echo, it harmonizes. She claps once. The sound rings out, and returns, transformed. Not just a single echo, but a layered wave of tones, like a soft choir hidden in the stone. You walk deeper. Around you, the air becomes thick with quiet magic. Every sound you make, every breath, every rustle, is answered. Not loudly, but gently. Respectfully. As if the cave is listening and replying. She encourages you to hum. You release a low tone. Musical notes. The echo replies, not as an exact copy, but as a harmony, joining you. Musical notes. You raise the pitch, and it builds, layer upon layer, like a lullaby built by stone. Musical notes. You whisper, and the cave breathes back a softer whisper still. In a wide cavern, the walls arch high above. The center is a circular pool of still water, perfectly clear. You sit beside it. The sleepy scientist touches the water's surface and sings a single note. The water responds, ripples forming shapes that match the pitch. This cave, she says, turns sound into memory, vibration into pattern. It's like Earth's own music chamber. She closes her eyes and begins to hum again. You follow, creating a quiet duet, your tones wrapping around one another like vines of light. The cave hums with you. You feel the vibration not just in your ears, but in your chest, your fingertips, your bones. Your body begins to synchronize with the cave's rhythm. The echoes soften, the air thickens with sleep. You lean against the cave wall, now warmed from within by your own sound. Drips from the ceiling fall with perfect timing, like a clock made of nature's breath. You hear no music now, but you feel it, all around. It is the music of being held. The music of belonging to the earth. The music of quiet, living stone. And in the arms of echo, water, and song, you fall asleep. To the silence that sings. The Bellmaker's Village. Bell houses soundscape, distant village bells, gentle hammering, birdsong, wind chimes, fire crackling, soft-spoken voices. Tonight, the sleepy scientist invites you to a village unlike any other, a village where every home, every path, and every tree has a song to share. Nestled between green hills and quiet streams, this village is home to the Bellmakers, an ancient community of artisans who craft bells of every shape and sound. You arrive just before dusk, when the last golden rays touch rooftops of polished copper and roof tiles hum in the wind. Each bell in this village is different, large ones that boom like distant thunder, tiny ones that ring like morning birds, and others that shimmer in sound as if made of light itself. The sleepy scientist smiles. This is a place where sound becomes sculpture. You walk along cobblestone streets, and the bells chime gently overhead, not to call or alarm, but to soothe. Each house has a bell tuned to a different emotion, one to welcome guests, another to calm a restless heart, some to mark bedtime, others to soothe babies to sleep. A breeze passes through the village and triggers a beautiful cascade of ringing, high and low, near and far. It's like walking through a lullaby made of metal and memory. You stop by a workshop where a bell maker, an older woman with silvery hair and warm eyes, is gently shaping a bell over a low fire. Her hammer taps rhythmically against the glowing metal. She invites you to listen closely. "This bell is for the night," she says. "It will ring only in the quietest hours, to remind us of the world still breathing." You touch the cooling edge of a finished bell. It's warm and smooth. The sleepy scientist places your hand over your heart. "Every bell here starts with silence," she whispers. "Then comes breath. Then intention. Then music." As twilight falls, the entire village prepares for the evening ring, a nightly ritual that signals the shift from waking to dreaming. People step out of their homes, each carrying a small handbell. Children, elders, parents, and artists all gather in the main square, forming a quiet circle. At once, they begin to ring their bells, not in unison, but gently, each at their own pace. The air fills with tones that drift, intertwine, and settle like a feathered blanket across the land. You lift a bell offered to you. It's small and smooth, painted with a soft blue glaze. When you ring it, it releases a deep, sweet chime that lingers in the air like honey on the tongue. The sleepy scientist rings hers, a higher note that harmonizes with yours. Around you, the bells rise and fall like waves. No two the same, yet all beautifully part of one whole. As the sounds fade, the village falls into gentle stillness. Lamps glow softly. Doors close with hushed clicks. Night has arrived. You're invited to stay in a guest cottage, where a window overlooks the square. You slip into a soft bed. Above your head, a wind chime sways in the breeze, offering tiny melodies as your breath slows. In this quiet place, where every sound is crafted with care and love, you finally understand. Silence is never empty here. It waits to be filled with the music of kindness, of community, of intention. And as you drift, your bell still cradled in your hand. The last sound you hear is peace. The whispering library. Books' muted speaker soundscape, soft turning pages, echoing whispers, ticking clocks, a low hum of distant wind, muffled footsteps. Tonight, the sleepy scientist takes you somewhere hidden, ancient, and marvelously quiet, a place where sound is stored as stories, and silence is respected like a sacred rite. You arrive at twilight before a towering stone structure nestled in a secluded valley. Ivy drapes the arched windows, and a carved wooden door creaks open as you step inside. The Whispering Library. Unlike any library you've visited before, this one doesn't house only books, it stores sounds. It's quiet, but not silent. The air vibrates softly, as if hundreds of voices from long ago are still breathing between the walls. Every step you take lands gently on velvet carpet. Candles flicker on high shelves, illuminating thousands of volumes, each bound in textured materials, bark, linen, polished stone, or soft fur. The sleepy scientist speaks softly. This library is enchanted. Every book whispers. She selects a volume labeled "The Rain Over Rooftops" and opens it. You both lean in, and sure enough, you hear it. Not reading, but raining. A soft patter, a gentle drizzle, the hiss of rain hitting warm tiles. The book holds the sound of that moment, not the words. Another book reads as a lullaby, a soft melody played on a harp and hummed by a mother long ago. Each volume holds a captured moment in time, encoded not in ink, but in vibration. You pass a glass case holding the Echo Index, an archive of every natural echo ever recorded, the Grand Canyon, the edge of a glacier, a cave in Iceland, even the hollow inside a walnut shell. At the heart of the library is a great domed hall where sound is amplified and preserved. You sit at the center on a circular bench, surrounded by quiet. The librarian appears, a gentle figure in robes stitched with musical notes. They carry a tuning fork and gently strike it. The tone rings out, clean, pure, and slow, and echoes off the walls like a message seeking a friend. You're invited to add your own sound. The sleepy scientist picks up a quill and writes a single note on a parchment square. She slips it into a copper slot at the side of the dome, and suddenly, her voice, a memory of her childhood laughter, rings out into the dome before settling into silence again. You're handed a slip of paper. What sound will you leave behind? You write, "My breath as I fall asleep." The librarian nods. A small device is placed near your mouth. You breathe deeply. Slowly. Again. One more time. The device records the gentle inhale and exhale, the barely there sound of surrendering to sleep. Your sound is sealed into a small golden sphere and placed on a velvet shelf. It will rest here forever, your breath, held like a secret song in the library of sound. You walk toward a sleeping nook tucked into the corner of the dome. It's lined with plush pillows and glowing pages. The walls pulse with a rhythmic hum, faint, steady, comforting. You curl into the blankets. A faint whisper circles the room. Not words, just warmth. You recognize one tone, it's the sound of your own breath, gently returned to you, like a lullaby shaped from your very self. And with that, surrounded by the echoes of human tenderness, memories, and timeless sound, you close your eyes and drift into the soft, everlasting quiet. The singing caves. Musical notes soundscape, echoing cave drips, harmonic tones, gentle humming wind, distant flute-like notes, footsteps on stone. Tonight, the sleepy scientist brings you deep beneath the earth, to a realm where silence sings and stone holds stories in sound. Welcome to the singing caves. You descend slowly into the earth along a spiraling path carved into rock. The air grows cooler, the light dimmer. Around each bend, the sounds change. Water droplets echo off distant walls, and the wind hums as it passes through narrow chambers. The scientist lights a lantern. Its flame casts golden shadows along the smooth, glittering cave walls. This cave system, she says, is alive with resonance. You step into a chamber that opens wide, like the nave of a hidden cathedral. Stalactites hang like organ pipes from the ceiling. Stalagmites rise in slow, eternal stillness from the floor. And when the sleepy scientist gently taps one of the mineral columns, a tone rings out. Pure. Clear. Lingering. She smiles. Each one of these formations holds a note, shaped by time and mineral and patience. Together, you explore the cavern, discovering the different tones each crystal column offers. Some resonate deep and slow, like cellos. Others are light, flute-like, or shimmering like chimes. Further in, you reach a grotto where water pools between polished walls. A trickle of an underground stream passes through, and with every droplet that falls, the cavern sings back a faint echo, different each time. You sit by the water and close your eyes. Your breath slows. Your body stills. And you begin to hear it, not just sounds, but music. The cave sings. Not with instruments, but with memory. The shifting air. The minerals that caught wind centuries ago. Even the sound of your footsteps contributes to the song. The sleepy scientist kneels beside you. These caves don't just reflect sound, she whispers. They hold it, like a memory. She begins to hum softly, a long, low note. And the cave hums back. Together, your tones mingle with the ancient vibrations in the stone. You and the earth are harmonizing. You move deeper still into a smaller chamber with walls of quartz and amethyst. When light from the lantern hits these gems, the chamber glows in hues of purple and rose. The air buzzes with energy. This is the heart of the cave. Here, sound doesn't travel the way it does above ground. It swirls. It lingers. It hugs the body. You lie down on a cool stone ledge cushioned with moss and soft cloth. The scientist dims the lantern. Above you, the ceiling sparkles. Below you, the earth hums. And in your ears, you hear the music of stone. Notes and pulses that seem to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. Breathing in sync with the natural rhythm of the caves, your heart calms. The vibrations pass through your body like waves in still water. Each note, each pause, deepens your peace. No words are needed. Just the language of resonance. Just the song of silence. You drift. Suspended in sound. Echoes across the desert. Desert musical note soundscape, warm desert wind, shifting sand, faint animal calls, soft footsteps, echoing tones in distance. Tonight, the sleepy scientist invites you to explore one of the quietest and most surprising soundscapes on Earth, the desert. At first, the idea seems strange. Isn't the desert silent? But as the sleepy scientist explains, silence is rarely complete. Even the stillest places whisper, if you know how to listen. You begin your journey at sunset, walking along a smooth, sandy trail lined with tall saguaro cacti and low desert shrubs. The heat of the day fades as dusk brushes the sky with pink, lavender, and gold. A warm breeze moves across the dunes, and the sand beneath your feet shifts with every step, each movement sending out the faintest sound, like brushing velvet. As you walk deeper into the vast open space, you begin to hear the desert's voice. Not in words, but in echoes. Each hill of sand, each rocky rise, each lone plant changes how sound travels. A bird call flutters into a canyon and comes back as a delicate echo. Your own footsteps bounce subtly off boulders, returning to you half a second later, familiar, but distant. The sleepy scientist points toward a group of large, flat rocks. These stones, she says, are nature's amplifiers. She gently taps one with a small mallet. The rock responds with a low, droning tone, resonant and rich. You feel it in your chest more than hear it in your ears. As night falls fully, stars fill the sky like scattered crystals. You settle beside a tall dune, and the scientist tells you about booming sand dunes, rare places where the shifting of sand produces deep, resonant sounds that roll like thunder. Some people call it the song of the desert, she smiles. She explains how dry sand grains, sliding in perfect unison, create vibrations that bounce through the dunes and into the air. You close your eyes and imagine it, warm sand cascading, releasing a slow hum that rolls through the night. And though you're not standing on a booming dune tonight, you can feel the desert's quiet rhythm in every breath. Nearby, an owl calls, soft, steady. Then, a pause. Its echo floats across the rocks and disappears into the horizon. The two of you lie back on a blanket of woven wool. Above, the stars shimmer so clearly it's hard to tell where the sky ends and your thoughts begin. The sleepy scientist whispers, "Did you know, sound moves more slowly at night in the desert? Cooler air, denser stillness. It makes every sound seem gentler, like it's walking on tiptoes." You nod slowly, feeling that tiptoed hush all around you. The wind quiets. The air cools. Your breath slows to match the earth's. And the desert, in its infinite wisdom, wraps you in soundless peace. You drift off beneath the stars, resting in the soft space between silence and song. The whispering forest. Evergreen tree parrot soundscape, rustling leaves, distant birdsong, gentle stream, occasional animal calls, subtle wind through trees. Tonight, the sleepy scientist leads us into a place where every leaf, every branch, and every breeze plays a role in nature's gentle orchestra. Welcome to the whispering forest. You begin at the edge of an old-growth woodland just as twilight slips into dusk. The tall trees, centuries old, tower above you like guardians of time. Their trunks are rough with age, and their leaves dance to the rhythm of the wind. As you step onto a moss-covered path, the forest greets you with a soothing hush. It isn't silent. Rather, it's alive with soft sounds layered together, the rustle of leaves, the bubbling of a nearby stream, the chirping of birds settling into their nests. The sleepy scientist walks beside you, her voice gentle and full of wonder. Forests, she says, are alive with sound, not just for us, but for the creatures who call them home. Trees, believe it or not, communicate too, through vibration and resonance. You pause to rest beside a wide cedar tree whose roots stretch into the earth like flowing ribbons. She places her hand on the bark and invites you to do the same. Even trees have a kind of heartbeat, she explains. Sap rising, cells expanding, roots shifting. All of it creates movement, tiny vibrations too low for our ears, but not too quiet for the forest. You listen. And though no words come, there's a deep calm humming beneath the silence. Further down the trail, the path bends near a gentle brook. A fox darts across the trail ahead, graceful and silent. The sleepy scientist smiles. Even the animals here have adapted their sounds to the forest. Owls fly silently. Deer move like shadows. Everything respects the soundscape. She leads you to a small clearing surrounded by silver birches. In the center, there's a ring of stones and a woven mat where you both sit. Above, the canopy lets starlight filter through. Around you, crickets chirp, frogs sing softly from the water's edge, and the forest settles into nighttime stillness. You lie down, the earth soft beneath your back. The forest continues its lullaby, a branch creaking softly, an owl calling in the distance, leaves rustling as they shift in a slow breeze. The sleepy scientist's voice grows softer. Sound here doesn't shout. It whispers. It teaches us to slow down, to listen not for volume, but for presence. You close your eyes, letting the rhythm of the forest guide your breath. Each inhale draws in the cool, earthy scent of moss and pine. Each exhale releases the tension of the day. You're part of the forest now, another listener among thousands of silent witnesses to nature's symphony. The stream gurgles. The trees sway. The forest hums. And sleep comes gently, like a drifting leaf, carrying you deeper into the night's embrace. Under the ocean's echo. Waterwave whale soundscape, deep ocean currents, soft bubbles, distant whale songs, sonar pulses, muffled marine ambience. Tonight, we dive into the mysterious, mesmerizing world beneath the waves, where sound travels farther, deeper, and more profoundly than anywhere else on Earth. Join the sleepy scientist as she explores the vast underwater soundscape, a realm where silence is never complete. You begin this journey aboard a small research vessel as the sun sets over the endless blue horizon. The air is salty, the wind soft. The boat rocks gently, and the sea is calm, ready to share its secrets. The sleepy scientist hands you a set of headphones and a curious device. This is a hydrophone, she explains, a special microphone that listens beneath the surface. The ocean may seem quiet, but beneath the waves, it's full of song. You lower the hydrophone into the water and close your eyes. At first, there's only the gentle whoosh of currents. Then, slowly, a rich sound begins to rise, long, haunting, and beautiful. A whale song, deep and resonant, echoing across the water. These are humpback whales, she whispers. Each population has its own unique songs. They can travel hundreds of miles through the water. You listen in awe as another whale responds in the distance, their voices weaving through the sea like ancient chants. Then come clicks and pings, dolphins communicating in rapid bursts of sound, echolocating their world. The sleepy scientist smiles. Sound is the primary sense down here. It moves much faster and farther than light. It's how marine creatures see, talk, and survive. As night deepens, you prepare for your descent into the ocean. Donning a special suit and slipping into the warm sea, you're cradled by the gentle pressure of the deep. The sleepy scientist swims beside you as you glide through shafts of moonlight filtering from above. The world is dreamlike, floating with bioluminescent jellyfish, glimmering fish, and coral structures that glow faintly like underwater lanterns. You hear more than you see. The rhythmic pulse of your own heartbeat. The muffled hush of your breath. The high clicks of shrimp snapping. The low hum of distant currents. And above all, the occasional song of a whale, like the earth herself is humming a lullaby. In this world of slow motion and sound, everything feels timeless. You drift through kelp forests, swim past schools of silver fish, and descend into a quiet trench where the water seems to pause in reverence. There, in the stillness, the sleepy scientist speaks softly. This ocean has heard stories older than civilization. Its songs are full of memory and rhythm. It teaches us that silence isn't absence, it's depth. You float in place, surrounded by the slow pulse of marine life, the gentle hush of water, and the warm embrace of the sea. And as your body relaxes, your thoughts soften. You become one with this deep, echoing world. The sea sings you to sleep. The Library of Echoes. Books, bell soundscape, soft page turning, distant bell chimes, whispering voices, the ticking of a grand clock, ambient reverb. Tonight, the sleepy scientist invites you into a very special place, an ancient, imaginary library where every sound is stored like a book, echoing gently through time. In this dreamlike sanctuary, echoes are memories, and silence carries meaning. You begin your journey walking down a misty marble corridor. It is night, and a golden moon glows above a domed glass roof. At the end of the hallway stands an arched wooden door. Carved into its frame are intricate spirals, each one pulsing with sound waves. As you step inside, the library opens up around you, vast, circular, and filled with countless shelves that stretch up beyond your line of sight. Each book glows faintly, not with light, but with sound. The sleepy scientist walks beside you. This, she says, is the Library of Echoes. It holds the history of sound, music, laughter, whispers, questions, answers, every sound that has ever mattered. She pulls a small glowing book from a shelf. When she opens it, instead of words, you hear the soft giggle of a child, followed by the rustle of grass and the sound of birds on a spring morning. This, she smiles, is the memory of a family picnic. Stored as a sound. You wander through the aisles, listening. One tome holds the creak of a ship at sea. Another echoes with the hush of a snowy night. One glows blue and, when opened, releases the slow, rhythmic drip of rain falling on stone. Every sound feels familiar. Comforting. Timeless. The sleepy scientist explains how echoes are more than just repetitions. They are the soul of memory, she says. Even the softest whisper, if it echoes, lingers beyond its moment. You pass by long tables lit with candlelight where librarians, tall, gentle beings made of mist and shimmer, catalog sound with reverent care. One listens to a shell, another scribbles symbols on parchment as a piano melody floats through the air. There is no loudness here. Even the ticking of the great library clock is soft and slow, like a heartbeat in slumber. In the center of the library is the chamber of silence. When you enter, the air feels thick, yet peaceful. This is a place where no sound intrudes. Not even your footsteps. You feel stillness wrap around you like a warm blanket. The sleepy scientist whispers, though her voice carries clearly, sometimes, the most powerful sounds live just beyond silence. In your breath. In your heartbeat. In your attention. You sit together on cushions made of quiet stardust, gazing at the ceiling, which is a sky full of pulsing stars. Each star, a note. Each constellation, a melody. A silent orchestra for dreaming minds. You close your eyes and listen, not to noise, but to presence. The soft hum of your thoughts. The gentle rhythm of your breath. The memory of every sound you've ever loved. And slowly, with the quiet companionship of the sleepy scientist, the warm hush of the library, and the echoes of the universe swirling gently around you, you drift deeper into sleep. The whispering forest. Evergreen tree owl soundscape, gentle wind in the trees, soft owl calls, leaves rustling, distant flute-like melodies, crackling campfire. Tonight, the sleepy scientist leads you into an ancient forest, a place where the trees whisper old songs, and every breeze carries a secret melody. In this magical woodland, sound and silence dance in harmony, teaching us the subtle rhythm of nature's voice. The journey begins at dusk. You and the sleepy scientist walk along a path dappled with golden twilight. The forest is deep and endless, with tall trees that seem to hum with life. The crunch of leaves underfoot is gentle, soft, like nature's own lullaby. Birdsong fades into the hush of night. The forest begins to glow faintly, the leaves catching moonlight as if they remember the sun. A soft wind moves through the canopy, and with it, the first whisper reaches your ears. It isn't a voice. Not exactly. It's more like a memory, a rustle that speaks in rhythm. A harmony you feel more than hear. The forest speaks, the sleepy scientist says quietly. It always has. Trees move air with their branches, communicate through roots, and echo time with their stillness. You pause beside a tree with a wide, gnarled trunk. Pressing your ear against it, you hear a distant, hollow song, like the creaking of ancient wood and a heartbeat that belongs to the earth itself. This tree, you're told, is more than 600 years old. It has lived through storms, sung with the rain, and echoed with the laughter of creatures that no longer roam. It remembers. As night deepens, fireflies appear, dancing through the woods like glowing notes on a musical staff. The two of you follow a winding trail lit by their gentle light. Eventually, you come upon a clearing where a small campfire crackles quietly. Around it, log seats invite rest. The sleepy scientist hands you a warm cup of tea made from herbs found in the forest, lemon balm, chamomile, wild mint. The fire pops softly, and the scent of wood smoke is sweet and grounding. You both sit. From the darkness beyond the clearing, music begins to drift in. Slow, haunting tones that seem to be made by flutes carved from river reeds and strings woven from spider silk. You see no musicians, only the silhouettes of creatures listening, like you. Rabbits, deer, and owls gather around silently, lulled by the harmony. Even the trees seem to sway gently, as if acknowledging the lullaby. There's something special about forest sound, says the sleepy scientist. It's patient. It doesn't rush to be heard. It waits until we are still enough to listen. You close your eyes and take a long, deep breath. Inhale the cool, earthy air. Exhale the busy thoughts of the day. You listen, not just with your ears, but with your presence. The music, the breeze, the soft hoo of an owl. Everything blends into a peaceful symphony of nighttime calm. And as your body relaxes fully, warmed by the fire and lulled by the forest's ancient song, your mind slips gently into dreams. A dream of trees that whisper. Of stars that hum. Of peace that echoes softly in your soul. Sleep comes easily in the whispering forest. The ocean's echo. Water wave spiral shell soundscape, gentle ocean waves, distant whale songs, shore breeze, seabirds calling softly, seashell chimes. Tonight, the sleepy scientist invites you to the edge of the world, the vast and mysterious ocean, where sound moves differently, deeper, slower. Here, beneath the waves and along the quiet shore, we'll explore how sound travels through water, and what it tells us about life beneath the sea. You begin at twilight on a quiet beach. The sleepy scientist walks beside you, barefoot in the soft, damp sand. The sea laps gently at your feet, washing away every thought that clung to your day. Sound in the ocean, she says, moves faster than it does in the air, because water is denser. Here, even a whisper can travel miles. As the stars begin to shimmer above the horizon, she offers you a shell. When you hold it to your ear, you hear not just the familiar ocean hum, but something richer. Inside the shell, you hear whale's song. Deep, resonant tones that rise and fall like slow music. Whales, she explains, sing not just to communicate, but to locate, to remember, and to connect. Their voices can cross oceans. You walk along the beach together, the sound of the waves lulling you into a calm rhythm. Seafoam fizzles like soda over your toes. The salt air clears your mind. You stop at a small fire pit nestled between driftwood logs. A warm flame glows there, and just beside it lies a flat stone covered in ancient-looking symbols. The sleepy scientist touches one of the carvings. This, she smiles, is the language of currents. The sea has its own memory, currents, tides, echoes of storms long gone. You sit by the fire, wrapped in a soft blanket as she continues. Fish, dolphins, and even coral reefs use sound to thrive. Reefs actually hum, softly, full of clicks, pops, and low rumbles. You close your eyes, and the fire crackles softly. You imagine yourself floating gently beneath the surface of the sea. Below, it's calm. The light filters down in waves of blue and green. Tiny bubbles rise around you, catching the light like silver coins. In the distance, a pod of dolphins whistles and clicks, their sounds sharp and playful. Then a whale sings again, low and long, the sound wrapping around you like a warm current. You drift deeper in thought, breathing slowly, the hush of the sea echoing gently in your imagination. Even the silence here, the sleepy scientist says softly, is full of life. Full of meaning. The ocean teaches us that sound doesn't always need to be loud, it just needs to move us. As the fire crackles and the tide rises gently closer, your breath sinks with the rhythm of the waves. In. Out. In. Out. The stars above shine like sea glass scattered across the sky. You feel your body growing heavier, more peaceful, as if rocked by the ocean's quiet lullaby. And slowly, with whale songs and waves echoing in your dreams, you drift into deep, tranquil sleep. The cave of still echoes. Candle soundscape, gentle dripping water, soft echoing footsteps, low ambient hum, the occasional flutter of wings. Tonight, the sleepy scientist leads you into the deep, quiet world beneath the earth, to a cave where sound is sacred and silence has a voice of its own. In the cave of still echoes, we'll listen to how sound travels through stone, water, and space, revealing the hidden architecture of the planet. You begin your journey near a wooded hillside, just before dawn. The air is cool and sweet with dew. The forest is hushed, only the distant call of a morning bird breaks the stillness. Before you, a narrow crevice in the rocky slope opens into darkness. The sleepy scientist lights a small lantern. Its glow is soft and golden, and as she steps into the cave, you follow closely behind. The world outside falls away. Inside, the air is still and cool, carrying a mineral scent, earthy, clean, and ancient. Your footsteps are gentle on the cave floor. Each one echoes softly, bouncing off walls smoothed by centuries of water and time. This place, she whispers, is older than memory. Older than language. Listen closely. And so you pause. You hear the gentle drip of water, falling from stalactites to shallow pools below. Each drop echoes in the cavern, delayed just slightly by the space. It's not silence, it's stillness. Caves are sound laboratories, she says, her voice low and reverent. They carry sound in pure form. With no wind or birds or leaves, even the tiniest noise tells a story. As you walk deeper, the cave opens into a massive chamber. The ceiling arches like a cathedral. The floor sparkles with crystals under the lantern's light, and tiny, delicate rock formations, stalactites and stalagmites, rise and fall like the frozen notes of a song. She claps once, gently. The sound echoes once. Twice, then fades into nothingness. That echo tells us the shape of this room, she explains. Architects learn from caves, how curves and stone shape sound, how to design for resonance and quiet. You nod, hearing your own breathing now. Slow. Calm. Almost musical. You come upon a shallow pool of perfectly still water. The sleepy scientist touches its surface with one fingertip. A ripple forms. Soft. Round. Even that ripple makes a sound. A whisper across the cave's surface. The water reflects your faces. The cave around you. The tiny lantern flame. All quiet. All sacred. This place, she says, teaches us that sound isn't just about what we hear. It's about space, distance, time. The pause between heartbeats. She invites you to sit. You lower yourself onto a soft, mossy ledge beside the pool. The rock is surprisingly warm beneath you, as if it holds the memory of ancient sunlight. You breathe deeply. Inhale. Exhale. The cave breathes with you. A soft wind moves faintly through the chamber, not from outside, but from deeper within the earth. It carries a distant hum. A resonance. The earth itself singing in tones too low to hear with the ears, but not too low to feel. You close your eyes. In this deep, dark chamber, you feel deeply present. Supported. Protected. The sound of the cave becomes a lullaby of patience and age. Drop, echo, breath, hum. And with the earth cradling you in stillness, your thoughts grow quiet. Your body softens. And slowly, with the rhythm of dripping water and the whisper of ancient stone, you fall into the most peaceful sleep imaginable. The Library of Lost Sounds. Book speaker high-volume soundscape, faint page turning, soft ticking clock, distant violin music, wind rustling through open windows. Tonight, the sleepy scientist takes you to a most unusual place, hidden deep within a forgotten valley, the Library of Lost Sounds. A sanctuary of sonic memory, where every sound ever made is gently catalogued and lovingly stored in shelves that stretch to the stars. You arrive at twilight, just as the moon rises over tall, whispering grasses. Nestled among them is a tall, ivy-covered building with spires that twist toward the sky. Its windows glow with a soft golden light, and a sign above the door reads, "Welcome, listener." The sleepy scientist stands at the doorway, smiling warmly. This, she says, is where sound is remembered. Even those too quiet for most to notice. As you step inside, the hush wraps around you like a blanket. You're surrounded by towering shelves filled not with books, but glass jars, each one holding a sound. Some hum. Some chirp. Some glow faintly, as if sound could shine. You walk beside your guide, each step on the soft carpet making the faintest rustle. She pauses by a shelf labeled "Sounds of Childhood." Inside the jars, you glimpse memories. A baby's giggle, the clink of a swing's chains, the fizz of a soda can opening on a hot summer day. Every sound we've ever made, she explains, echoes through time. Here, they're kept safe, preserved like history's heartbeat. Further down the rows are jars with names like Whale Heartbeat, First Rain After Drought, and The Last Note of a Forgotten Song. You gently pick up one labeled Pages in a Windy Library. As you open the lid, you hear it, pages rustling, a faint breeze, the creak of an old leather chair. It stirs something in your chest, a memory you didn't know you had. These sounds, she says, are more than noise. They're markers. Of feeling. Of presence. Of time. She leads you to the Hall of Silence, a massive room where no jars exist. Here, there's only space. Stillness. Breathing. Sometimes, the sleepy scientist whispers, we lose sounds. But sometimes we lose the silence in between them. This room holds the quiet. You sit in the center of the room, surrounded by calm. No clocks. No footsteps. No wind. Just the echo of your breath and your heartbeat syncing with the universe. Outside, a gentle wind blows, turning the weather vane atop the library with a tiny creak. Inside, your body slows. Your thoughts quiet. And you begin to feel not just tired, but safe. Cradled by the hush of long-lost lullabies, whispers of rain on windows, and lullabies sung once and never again, you let yourself drift. Each sound, each silence, wraps around you. And slowly, like a dream you don't want to wake from, you fall deeply asleep in the library of the world's softest, most beautiful sounds. The Whispering Wind Farm. Wind-face sheaf of rice soundscape, soft wind through tall grass, gentle hum of distant turbines, meadow birds in the distance. Tonight, the sleepy scientist takes you to a place where technology meets tranquility, a peaceful meadow filled with tall wind turbines known as the Whispering Wind Farm. Here, the language of the breeze becomes a lullaby, and spinning blades speak in a rhythm that soothes the soul. Your journey begins at sunrise. The sky is painted in soft hues of peach and lavender. The air carries the scent of grass and blooming wildflowers. A dirt path winds through rolling hills that stretch as far as the eye can see. And standing tall among the golden grasslands are graceful wind turbines, giant white flowers that dance slowly with the sky. You walk with the sleepy scientist down the gentle slope of the hill. She carries a small wind meter in one hand and a thermos of warm chamomile tea in the other. She pauses, sips, and smiles. This place, she says, teaches us that sound doesn't always come from chaos. It can be born of order. Of balance. Of air simply moving. As you reach the first turbine, it begins to turn with a soft whoosh. The sound is gentle, steady, like the planet breathing. Each blade, she explains, catches the wind and turns it into energy. But it also creates a tone, a note in Earth's great symphony. You listen closely. There it is. The steady hum of the blades. The whisper of wind across the field. The rustle of tall grass swaying in time. Even the tiniest insects, busy in their world, join the soundscape with chirps and clicks like percussion in a lullaby. You find a soft patch of moss beside a stone and sit down. The sleepy scientist lowers her voice, as if not to disturb the wind. There are people, she says, who find peace in silence. But others, they need a rhythm. A pulse. The gentle thrum of something bigger than themselves. You lie back in the grass. Above you, the blades turn. Below you, the earth hums. The sound is not loud, but it's full. Full of air, movement, calm power. She tells you about how wind sound travels, how air flows past surfaces and how engineers design turbines not just for efficiency, but to make them quieter, more in harmony with the land. You close your eyes. The breeze brushes your face like a lullaby. The turbines keep spinning, a slow-motion waltz against the pastel sky. A field mouse peeks out of a hole nearby, then scurries into a patch of wild clover. Birds float overhead, their wings catching the current, silent but for the occasional chirp. The sleepy scientist says, wind is a sculptor. It carves canyons, shapes clouds, and hums lullabies into blades of grass. And just like that, you feel your body respond. Muscles soften. Mind loosens. Breath deepens. This place of spinning giants and tiny mice, of silence and soft sound, becomes a cradle. You drift into sleep, carried on the wings of the wind. Soft. Steady. Safe. The deepest silence. Milky Way bellwith/soundscape, gentle breathing, soft cosmic ambience, slow heartbeats fading into silence. Tonight, the sleepy scientist takes us on one final journey. Not to a place filled with humming meadows, echoing caverns, or musical forests, but to a place that exists beyond sound itself. Welcome to the deepest silence. You begin in a quiet observatory high atop a mountain. It's just past midnight, and stars blanket the sky like diamonds scattered across velvet. The sleepy scientist sits beside you on a wide balcony, 2 steaming mugs of herbal tea in hand. She speaks gently. Sound needs something to travel through: air, water, stone. But what happens when all of that is gone? She lifts her hand toward the night sky. Out there, in the vast reaches of space, there is silence. Real silence. Not the absence of noise, but the presence of stillness. You close your eyes, imagining yourself lifting away from the observatory, slowly floating, rising into the sky, passing through the atmosphere. Soon, the sounds of Earth fade. No rustling trees, no wind, no hum of life. Just quiet. Weightless. Peaceful. You drift into the darkness, and the stars surround you. And in that vast silence, something remarkable happens. Your thoughts soften. Your breath slows. And in the place of all the noise that once filled your mind, you begin to hear something else. Yourself. The steady rhythm of your breath. The whisper of your pulse. The echo of your imagination. The sleepy scientist's voice returns, calm and close. Even here, she says, sound still lives, inside us. Every heartbeat, every breath, every quiet thought. We are never truly alone. We are made of quiet symphonies. You float beside her now, surrounded by glowing galaxies. She points to a nebula shaped like a shell. That's the place where old stars go to sleep, she whispers. You pass a comet, its tail streaming behind it like a dancer in slow motion. Then, gently, you begin to fall. Back through the stars. Back toward Earth. Toward the observatory. The wind greets you again. The hush of the mountain air. The distant howl of a wolf, far below. And then. Silence. Not empty, but full. Full of peace. Full of stillness. The sleepy scientist wraps a warm blanket around your shoulders and helps you lie back in a reclining chair beneath the stars. And there you stay. Breathing. Drifting. Held by silence. Comforted by it. For even in the quietest places, your inner symphony plays on. And with that final note, you fall into the deepest, most restful sleep. You have reached the end of this journey. But the sound of peace will remain. Forever.